or fractional parts. I guess fractions right now over. And first thing we always do here is review stuff that maybe you have forgotten in the past year. If you have a fraction, let's say you have 7/8. What are these bad boys called? What's the highfalutin name for the bottom of a fraction? Brianna? It is the denominator. And top of the fraction, Elijah, is the numerator. We're not making it a division problem. We're probably kind of right there. This would be the divisor, that would be the dividend. And this little beauty gem we call right there the fraction line. Now, here is the deal. They're going to ask you, here's an example problem from the book. They'll say, arrange from least to greatest. And here are the fractions. Let's say they've got 3/8, 3/6, 3/5. 3/8, 3/6, 3/5. Now, what is the most specific way, if you really want to tell for absolutely sure mathematically which fraction is bigger, just looking at them, well, what would be the way that you know it? How do you know if 3/8 is bigger than 3/5? Last year, how did we finish up the year? What would we do there, Elijah?
So all the numbers on top are the same, but the ones on the bottom are different, so one is lower on the bottom.
Are you sure? That's kind of, how many people would be sure of what Elijah's way is, that what Elijah is saying is true? Does a bigger number on the bottom mean a smaller fraction, and a smaller number on top be a bigger fraction? I'll just give you what I would tell you here. The only way, or the best way to tell to compare fractions, they need to be divided, the bottom numbers need to be the same. Okay? It's like if you have a pizza that's cut into 20 pieces, and you have a pizza that's cut into 15 pieces. You know, is 7/15 of the pizza bigger than 9 of the 20 pieces? It's hard to know because the pieces are all different sizes. But if you can make all the pieces the same size, then it's really easy to tell. We've done this, what is the, I don't know, maybe I don't want to ask you this. Maybe we probably don't want to do this. Let's just do these two. What's the common denominator between 3/6 and 3/5? Same, what bottom number does both 6 and 5 go into? Smallest number both 6 and 5 go into, Aubrey? 30. So if I were changing this to common denominators, the bottom numbers would both be 30. To go from 6 to 30, I multiply by 5, so I'd have to multiply the 3 by 5. I get 15/30. 3/6 is the same thing as 15/30. 3/5 is the same thing as 5 times 6 gives you 30, 3 times 6 gives you 18. Once you do that, obviously what's more? If you have 15 out of 30 or 18 out of 30, what's more? 18 is bigger, right? If you ate that many more pieces. Now, with that being said, you don't have to do that. Okay? You don't have to do that with this case because, anybody know why? It's kind of like Elijah's saying, but it's a little easier, I think, I'm thinking that Elijah was going with there. Okay, you want to, first of all, look for the easy way out and compare them to 1/2. Which means this. 3/8. 3/8, is that bigger than 1/2, smaller than 1/2, or the same as 1/2? Mitch?
Smaller.
Smaller, because 1/2 is 4/8, right? Because that would be half of that. So you know this is smaller than 1/2. 3/6, bigger, smaller, or equal to?
Equal to.
It's exactly 1/2. 3/5, bigger, smaller, or equal? Lainey?
Bigger.
Bigger. So since this is smaller than 1/2, that's equal to 1/2, and that's bigger than 1/2, you can arrange them in order based on that. 3/8 is definitely the smallest. 3/6 comes next because it is 1/2. 3/5 is bigger than 1/2. Okay? That would be the first thing you'd look for. And I don't know if they'll give you ones where you have to change the common denominators, but that's the first way you look at it. Now, if two of them ended up being smaller than 1/2, then you don't know for sure which one is unless you change it to common denominators. By the way, did we talk about this before? What if you have this? 7/9 compared to 11/, 13. And I asked you what's bigger, what's smaller. And don't guess, please. Without changing them to common denominators, anybody know a way you can tell? I think I told you this thing last year. No, that's your 7th graders. I'll give you the shortcuts to use. Cameron, you got any idea? Quick way to tell whether two fractions, which one's bigger, is to do this. This is the very fast, short way. Take the bottom and multiply by its diagonal across. What's 9 times 11? Take the bottom, multiply it by its diagonal across, and maybe that's a little harder for you to do. 7 times 13, anybody in your head? Mitch?
91.
What's that?
91.
Yeah, 91. Which one's bigger? 99, so this is bigger. And it works for, it's really not that complicated why it works, but it does work. So if you're doing 3/5 times 1/2, you know, without even thinking about it, what's 5 times 1? 5. 2 times 3 is 6. This is bigger. Kind of like a helpful little trick there. But this, I'm pretty sure every problem they're going to give you, just compare it to half and it'll work for you. I don't think they give you this just yet. They might wait till next week to give you those where you have to change the common denominators. And then last but not least under fractions is some story problems. Write this problem down. There were 30 questions on the test. This is still under fractions. 30 questions on a test. 1/3 were, what were a third of them? True, false, and 2/5 were multiple choice. 1/3 were true, false, 2/5 were multiple choice. 2/5 were multiple choice. 2 questions. Number 1, how many were true, false? How many true, false questions? And number 2, how many were multiple choice? Anybody know what I'm going to tell you that you have to do for this? Why'd you figure?
Write it down.
No, you don't have to write the whole problem out now. I mean, for your notes you do, but not when you actually have come across this problem in your book. You are going to have to, Kara,
Draw a picture.
draw a box. It doesn't have to be a very big box. You draw a box that stands for what? All 30, everything, 30 questions. And then you need to split that box into your fractions. For example, this says 1/3. Remember the bottom number of fraction does what? Cuts it into equal pieces. If I cut this into 3 equal pieces, how much is each piece worth? Rich.
10.
And one of the 3 pieces, the top tells you how many you have. One of those 3 pieces is true, false. So how many questions were true, false? Just 10 of them. Now please note, you can't use that same box for the second problem because it's a different denominator on the fraction. This is not cut into fifths. So you can't say, oh, 2 of them, 20 questions were there. You have to go, this is a whole new box. Still 30 questions, but this time those 30 questions are split into 5 equal pieces, which means each piece is, I know the math is hard, 6. And 2 of those pieces were multiple choice. So 2 6s are, there were 12 multiple choice. Leaving how many questions left? And what type would they be then? Elijah?
8.
How do you know? Maybe there are 8 guessing ones. Maybe there are 8 fill in the blank. You're saying they're essay questions? Don't be so hard on yourself. They don't have to be essays. Any other questions on that? Oh, there is one right there. Example number 3. Compare 2/3 of an hour to 2/5 of an hour. 2/3 of an hour compared to 2/5 of an hour. Which one's bigger and why? could do change it on the minutes, but I don't think we have to, like I already talked about. What's a quick way to tell whether fractions are equal or whatever? Multiply bottom to top, 2 times 3 is 6, 5 times 2 is 10, what's bigger? 10. That's a more than R, isn't it? I think you'll like this. Alright,